get into the wood pretty good.
I got the
Kid I
songs
grew up
on
with,
here.
he just bought a new forwarder.
Yeah.
He had one, it was nice, but he got another one, 6-wheel forwarder.
Yeah.
Yeah, from school.
Is it Evan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
His mother called me one day and says, Evan is at the 4-H camp cutting big trees.
So we know we're gonna stop the meeting, it's being recorded, so I have
Yeah.
a recorder on, so
Right, so. All
I
right,
just wanted to let you know.
Board of Health meeting, it is 6 o'clock, August 21st, 2018. On the agenda tonight, we have, for ongoing business, Flint Road landfill, where we'll also be discussing the mowing contract. We have 4 bids for that, so that'll be first up on business. We also have ongoing H-Foot Road, Berry Corner Road, Eleanor Lane, if there's anything new on that. And we have Burlingame Road water testing continuing to discuss. We do have Gary Magnuson here from CMG. Also, I should probably say Jim Philbrook, Kathleen Walker, Matt Gagner, and myself are here. New business, we have a gentleman stopping in, Mr. Jones, to talk about the risks of natural gas. And then we'll have department head reports. And I think that's it for tonight's agenda. Minutes have been signed from last meeting. And there's a few other things. I think you're all set, Kathleen.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we might as well just get right into the Flint Road landfill. Should we start? We've got 2 folks here in the audience that that do have one of the bids for the mowing. Can we go ahead and open these?
Sounds good.
All right. We'll keep that one. You know what? This has got the paperwork with it, so let's go ahead and.
We can put
Keep
that
this
back
together.
in there if you want. The liability insurance came in later, so
Oh, all
Andrew
right.
didn't want to open it back up.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. You want to open one, or do you want to just open them one at a time?
Have at it.
Have at it. Hopefully I won't rip anything. I'm not supposed to.
You got a device right there.
Look at you.
High tech.
I feel like Johnny Carson. All right. First estimate is from BCB Lawn Services, Charlton, Massachusetts. Flint Road, cut brush to test wells. Clean up 90 Flint Road. And clean up patching bald spots, cover line with loam reseeding. I'm assuming that this will cover everything. All these people who bid on this got all the stipulations.
They
in it.
did.
I don't think they did.
Maybe one of them came in early. Some people came in and asked for them. Some people just brought a bid in, so.
I think we gotta just be clear when we're bidding that we keep them apples to apples, because I
Yeah.
think this particular person, we talked and we said, listen, this is what we gotta do, and it was, talked about the scalping and all that, and cutting of 54 Flint Road, but I don't believe we discussed that at the last meeting and put that in our paperwork.
Yeah.
So I think we'll have to see what our paperwork says, but I believe it's strictly mowing of 90 Flint Road.
Right, that's what I was going to bring up, actually.
Yeah.
But that's okay, it's delineated here quite easily.
Yeah.
The cleanup for 54 Flint Road is $800, everything else is separate. If you include the $800 for 54 Flint Road, the total comes to $9,260. And this again is just for one mowing, correct?
Yeah.
One mowing to be done between now and October 15th, is that right?
I think that's correct.
I think about October 15th. So there's the first one. Do you want to take a look at that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Next one. Thank you, Gary. CCL Landscaping, Charlton, Massachusetts. Mowing of landfill per July 2018 specs, quantity 8,800. And that's pretty much what it says. So there's that one. I don't know if we can keep all the envelopes together now. This next one is from Lawns Are Us Plus out of Charlton Depot. Just the insurance. Charlton landfill 2018, mow entire landfill, weed whack areas as needed. $6,790 for that one. You recording all these?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Snows, is that you? Okay. Final, this is the fourth and final bid that,
this is
it. There's
oh, I'm
another
sorry. Gosh, I thought this was paperwork. All right, fourth of five from KMZ Snow out of Spencer. You list your equipment as well, insurance requirements attached. Total bid price $5,500. And certificate of liability insurance is here. Very good. All right.
You should put these in order because they're going down progressively.
Did I know? I can assure you.
There's no way you could have. Just curious.
That was a big envelope. All right. So here's the, did we see this before? Is this a copy of what we've had? Because
No,
I-
that's what was presented by one of the bidders.
We didn't open the
Okay.
bid, we
didn't open the bid.
we
Yeah,
looked
that's-
at that, but we never
That's
opened
correct.
the bid.
Then we stopped.
That's right, thank you very much. Now I recollect, it's been several weeks. Okay, so this is the aerial shot of the landfill. It's pretty good. The final bid comes in from Steep Slope Mowing, Contract Mowing Services out of Storrs, Connecticut. Says Lawns by Marcus Hilditch LLC out of Storrs, Connecticut. So it's one of the two, maybe it just goes by Steep Slope Mowing. Okay, anyway. This is kind of a letter of introduction stating what they've done, including airports and the town of Waterford, Connecticut sites. Mowing of 90 Flint Road landfill. Quote for landfill maintenance, annual cutting and handwork of the capped landfill. $4,625. However, right after that, it says repair of exposed landfill liner cover on top of berm. And the person goes on to say, I could only locate one due to the height of the grass, but was told by Mr. Philbrook there are two areas. Repairs will have to be done manually to avoid any further damage to both areas. Cost to repair both areas total $350. So I'm assuming that is in addition to the $46.25, bringing the total to $4,975. Let me just make sure there's nothing else here.
Mr. Chairman, I
Reference.
believe those are the two spots that Gary indicated were bare.
Yes. Was it just the two?
He indicated one to me.
Well, we had asked to include the 2017 annual inspection, which I don't think we did, which had the photos of them. There's about 5 or 6 areas. There's 2 moderately large, half the size of this table,
Right.
and the other ones
Yeah.
are the size of a chair.
But so in total, you're talking, total area is probably not more than twice the size of this table here.
Not at all,
So not much at all.
but not easy to do.
No, because you have to go up. There's a photo of one
Yeah,
of the exposed liners areas. This must be their photo, I take it.
that looks like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he asked to visit the landfill. He came in.
All right, so this one has, it comes with a copy of, I'm assuming it's all the same information here. So let's go ahead and open this up for discussion.
So, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I just want to clarify, on the steep slopes, they did an additional fixing of the scalping work for $350. But the base bid for the mowing was $46.25.
Correct?
And so to keep the apples with the apples, I think we just consider the $46.25 for their number.
Okay,
Then we have the snows at $5,500. We have the lawns are us $69.70. We have clean cut lawns at $8,800, and then the BBC estimate as well funded additional work in there. But when you add up the actual cutting of the grass, it came to $7,500. So I don't think we should include in his quote the cleanup of 54 Flint Road, because it's not apples to apples, and the patching of the bald spots either. So if we eliminate those two and go for the grass cutting, his quote is $7,500.
okay.
So that's, I believe, apples to apples. We're at $46.25, $5,500, $67.90, $8,800, and $7,500.
Okay. There's a bit of a discrepancy here where, I mean, we're about 50% off from low to high, and I just want to be sure that whoever gets the bid, before we award it, that they're aware that, there were certain stipulations in the contract. I'm assuming if they've all got it, I'm fine with it, but it just seems like it's
Andrew usually handed out something
okay.
with it on it, but like Matt said, I didn't have anything to do with it, I'll be honest. I didn't open anything, I didn't look at anything. I spoke to a couple people that came in and said, it's up to you to put the bid in as you see it,
Did any of them ask you to go up there with them?
One gentleman did, but I couldn't, I had an appointment.
That was this guy?
He's the one, yeah, he came in quite a while ago, but he just went to Earth Google and did that. And he did do a walkthrough of the landfill.
So, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
to comment on your concern, I believe we should go with the lowest bidder and have a walkthrough prior to them doing any work, so they're fully aware of what is involved. And if they say that's not what they bargained for, tell us before you start one engine, and then we can go to the next bid.
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
I agree.
Because we've had people, like Matt said, get awarded the contract and then a week later say, it's not what I thought, like you said, and then all of a sudden we're stuck.
That's what happened the first time around.
First time around. Yep.
Right.
So
So this would have to happen relatively quick, because we're
Meaning,
talking
yeah.
6 to 7
Next-
weeks between
Within the next week.
today and when it would have to be done.
Yeah,
Okay.
whatever you decide, it's your decision, you three.
No, I agree. I do have a question. The last contract that we awarded, there were 3 bids. Does that sound right?
the last one we awarded,
Do you remember?
I believe the last one we awarded, I would say there was 3 bids on that.
Okay, but they were relatively close in price comparison?
The first time we got bids, it was all over the board.
Okay.
Like tens of thousands of dollars off.
Oh.
Tens of thousands.
All right.
It was.
It was,
So this, I just thought that there was, the
These
last
bids-
time it seemed like it was closer.
these bids, in my opinion, they seem to be all on target.
Okay,
You know, depending on your equipment, you might, the most highest bid as we have it here, might not have the equipment as the lowest bid, and it comes down to equipment.
right.
If you got a machine that can handle the slope and you can shave off a day or two, it's a big deal.
Right. Kathleen, did you want to see any of this? Any of the bids?
No, I'm good. I don't think there's that much of a discrepancy.
Okay.
In fact, 2 of them are fairly close, but, actually, 2 of them,
They're all
2 of the
pretty
highest
close.
ones are close, and the 2 of the lowest ones are fairly close, and then there's one in the middle, so it's just, a few $1,000s between the lowest and the highest. So, it seems reasonable to me, but I completely agree that we should do a walkthrough right away, within a week. and make sure that everybody's on the same page.
I like the idea myself. 1 week sounds appropriate.
Mhm.
Okay.
If we can
Jim,
pull it
is
off.
is it something you could do? Or
I
does
can-
Gary have to go out, or?
I don't think you're gonna pay the principal of CMG to go out. I'm just gonna, he's gonna do the inspections after they're done
Right,
as the board
yes.
decide. But if you just want me to accompany them, I mean, I'll just go by there. I mean,
Take your ticks,
they're on
right?
town property, but it's loaded with ticks, so I
Yeah.
just want people to know that, be prepared.
Yes.
I'm not gonna be going dressed like this, that's for
No.
sure.
No.
At least you've got
If I'm
more
around, I'll
sleeves.
go, it's no big deal.
Well, I will have long sleeves and
If
one
I'm
shirt.
around, I can do it too. It's
Whatever, if
half
you-
an hour time, it's an
Yeah.
hour time, I'll do it.
I mean, whatever the board decides, but we should have someone definitely know if they have not walked it and put a bid in, that they're in, you know, this is not your typical mowing. And if you don't have proper equipment, we don't want someone up there hacking away, and we need to make sure they use best practices.
In my opinion, if Gary is able to do it, since he's the one that's inspecting it, it would make sense to me that he would be the one that shows him what he's looking
I guess,
for.
okay.
That's
I'll
my
second it.
opinion.
Yeah.
Can I second that?
Yeah.
If you have an email, just, why don't you send an email to the whoever you award it to, CC me on it.
Sure.
Tell them to get in touch with me, and I'll make a time to meet with them, and we'll take
But
care
you
of
could
it.
better explain, you know, where the
can
wells
show
are,
you.
to be careful and stuff like that. So it does make sense to, you know, that there's a good explanation by a qualified person to explain to them that when you're doing this, you're responsible to make sure you're not gonna, you know, did we look at their liability insurance too, to make sure that they have enough before
Yeah.
you admit the bid? I mean, if someone has only 500,000 and certainly something happens.
That's a copy. This is the,
Like here,
500,000.
It's got $1.5 million.
yeah, he's got, this one is,
That's high.
that's high. He's got about 5 million. On this one, I don't know who this is. Hilditch, is that this one?
Yes, yeah.
It's one of the,
That's, you want to keep it all together?
we should for
We
records.
probably should. All right.
Question, and put it in order. If the first one doesn't go, the next one you feel is, so if you put it in order,
Yeah.
for, you know, you could state who wins the bid and then who would be secondary to the bid in
Okay.
case something falls through. I mean, just for the record.
I get the envelopes mixed up.
We'll hold that against you.
Is that?
So is there any more discussion on awarding the bid as,
Did we check the liability insurance?
You just did.
All of them? Okay, good.
Oh, you just checked it on.
I'd
the-
only checked one, I just wanted to make sure that they have adequate coverage. If you're gonna award someone,
We checked the the lowest bidder that we were gonna award it to, right?
you should check the liability, the top two, or,
The number, second bidder's got plenty of insurance as
Okay.
well.
so with the stipulation that if steep slope mowing comes out, that they do agree with a site visit with Gary Magnuson from CMG. If they're good with all that, they can start the work.
Yeah.
If not, we'll be calling the second bidders.
and who is the second bidder for the record?
Snows,
Okay.
Second
Just so
bidder.
Andrea could, you know, make a documentation
right.
in the record.
And again, I think I'd like to try to stick to 1 week so that just in case the low bidder does not come through, we can then move on to the second bid.
All right, so if he can't comply with a 1 week walkthrough, then you would go to the second bidder. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know.
What do you want to do?
I mean,
End of
in
next
my
week?
mind, there's probably a little bit of leeway, but
It depends, I mean, if he's got a good reason, I mean, if he's in the hospital or something, I don't know, but,
Right.
you know, but we should certainly try to do it within a week. But I
So
don't
we
think there's
target
nothing
for
in
a
the
week, and
contract that
if he
says
can't, what, I would
Yeah,
say we
yeah.
just put a 2-week maximum on it or something.
yeah.
And I'll let,
August
This is our
31st, looking at the
first.
calendar right there.
Yeah. If they can't come out and meet the timeline by the August 31st to do the site work.
That's 2.5 weeks. I mean, it's a week and a half.
Week and a half.
To do us.
Yeah.
I think
And that
that's
still leaves
reasonable.
about 6 weeks for the,
so would you like me to notify him that has won the bid? Is he still
Well, I think we have to make a motion
Yep.
and make it official.
Yep. Yep.
Sorry, well, you should make it.
Okay, what's the actual name of, right here? I make a motion that we award the contract for the fiscal 2018 mowing to Steep Slope Mowing for the amount of $4,625.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Just have a business card, I want to get the contact information.
Yes,
so I
yeah,
have it as
there's
well.
two, so.
I'll just take it down.
There's that. Any other discussion on that?
Just-
Snows, I do thank you for coming in.
We're available to meet for that meeting.
Okay,
We're right in town, right next door, so if he's
All right.
gonna meet with that guy up there and do a walkthrough, we'll be able to.
We're
meet
on
up
a
there.
landfill right now in Worcester, so
okay.
if that's any.
I think that's a great idea.
Oh, do the walkthrough at the same time?
If they're available to do the walkthrough, I
If they're
think that's a
available.
great idea. So if the other company decides they don't want to do it, we don't have to waste Gary's time again, because they would be, we
That's
would
fine. I mean-
require them.
We can do that.
Good thinking.
Can we bring a mini excavator up there?
Can you?
Yeah.
In limited areas, but yeah.
The
Yeah.
mini.
You're-
Just not
again,
the
you're-
log cap, just the mini excavator, sorry.
Yeah. Your response, if you, any damage you do to it, you gotta fix it. Because I have to do
Yes.
the third-party inspection in November.
Mhm.
And we did it last year, we know what it looked like, we have photo documented, so as long as it doesn't get damaged,
And you'll
I don't care how, you can mow it with scissors if you want it.
Don't do it with scissors.
But
Be
no.
there for a long
You're gonna
time.
be there forever.
Thank you.
So, Gary, you have their contact
Yeah, let me,
information? So when, it's in there.
We have.
I'll grab it out of here. So what I'll do is, we'll arrange for the first one, and then I'll give you a call. Thank you.
One of you can probably show up, or both. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
I think originally we got quotes on 20,000.
Really?
Yeah. and
Was
that
it?
two mowing, so it was like 40 grand. So we got like,
Wow.
remember that guy?
I don't, yeah.
Was it because it was an unknown or something, or was there woody vegetation or
No.
anything
No,
special?
it was less vegetation than there is now.
Yeah, now there's a lot of vegetation up there.
Yeah.
It's gonna take a lot of work.
It's 17 acres, but not all that needs to be
I
mowed,
think
is
it's
that
9
correct?
acres.
9 acres is mowed?
It's 9 acres of landfill.
Yeah, but
But the slope
that's
is-
measured like this. It's like this.
Yeah,
So it's
that's
fine
fine.
like this.
It's a lot.
We'll
It's not
continue
easy.
on without you, Jim. All right. So anything else about Flint Road landfill?
I have some information for you.
That's good.
So, let me just get
Yeah, go ahead, take your time.
for a phone number here. Oops, I don't see one.
Andrew was right,
I'll find that later. So Flint Road landfill. 90 Flint Road, nothing to report. We did the testing last quarter. Everything is stable, the same. The report's been submitted to the state. Everything's good. Q3, so July, August, September, that's going to require a landfill gas monitoring, which is no big deal. And then Q4, the large landfill capped one that we're talking about, 90 Flint Road, requires groundwater monitoring, soil gas testing, the inspection, third-party inspection, everything again. I have to get you guys a proposal for that scope of work. I will do that, and get that into you. 54 Flint Road, the sampling is done. It was done, I think when I spoke with you guys last, but we didn't have the data. All the data is very consistent. The contaminant of concern again is 1,4-dioxin. It was detected at low concentrations again in 2 monitoring wells. Number 5, is it S or D? I have to check. 4D, around 0.38. So the standard's 0.3. It's been detected at 0.33, 0.33, 0.38, so pretty consistent. And then the other well that has it is 5D, and that was detected that was the one that set the whole MCP issue. That was at 0.15 back in 2016, and it's bounced around. It's 1.2 now, so you could argue it's going up. It is going up. 0.15, 0.16, I'm sorry, 0.5, 0.6, 0.56, 1.2, 0.9, and 1.2 again. So it bounces around, but it's around 1. It's consistent more than anything.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
Can you just refresh my memory on the total number of wells that are there at 54 Flint Road? There was one that's no longer operational, is that right?
One had we had issues. It's a shallow well, and it's
Okay.
number 4, and that is up by the road, where that's the one that years ago, back in 2008, had the detection of TCE, which is one of the contaminants we found in 59 Flint Road. We were able to sample that one this time.
Okay.
No, we weren't. I'm sorry, we did it last time. It had enough water in it. It should have it next quarter when it's done in December.
So that it varies depending on the water
Right.
table, or?
Yes, it's a very shallow well.
Okay.
It's right on the edge of the road. And yeah, the well's only 17.5 feet deep.
Okay.
And usually there's only about a foot of water in it. You like about 8 feet of water in the well normally to get a good sample out of it. But it has been tested a few times, and it only had that contaminant, TC, way back in 2008, and nothing since then in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tests. So on the Flint Road landfill, this report normally we would have already submitted to the state, a quarterly report, and say, here's the data, everything's consistent, no worries. As you guys may recall, last time I was here, we talked about the comprehensive site assessment and DEP's audit of that. I've been working with Greg Root at Mass DEP. He has requested clarification of landfill boundaries on the east side on Flint Road. So we talked about doing some test pits, and you guys had approved that in your last scope of work. Working with Jerry and Mark at Charlton DPW, and tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock, weather permitting, if it's not raining, we're going to dig 4 test pits along the road to confirm or evaluate if landfill debris is there. I don't expect to find any. The cable issue that they said they couldn't do the work for last time, Jerry and Mark both had a little understanding of that, and we evaluated it and we were out there. It looks like there may have been a cable in the ground out there years ago, and now it's above ground because you can actually physically see the cable coming out of the ground. So there apparently is not a cable. DigSafe did not mark it, so we shouldn't have much of an issue. So a few hours of work, we should be able to do that, and then I'll add that data to this report. We'll send this off to Greg Root as a quarterly report plus the status that he had asked for, so DEP can complete their audit. And then that will sit with them for a little bit of time, I expect. If they approve the comprehensive site assessment, again, they had one from 2010. They audited it and they said, we want more data. We gave them some data, and then we said, now we want more data. So we're going to give them some more data, and they're going to hopefully say that is approved. Once that gets approved, then we have to do the alternatives analysis of what are we going to do with the landfill? We're going to put a cap on it. What? And you guys had approved some funding for that. We're not touching that until after this comprehensive site assessment update gets approved by the state. And if it takes them 6 months, we're not going to touch that other scope until then. Matt brought up a good point. 54 Flint Road could probably use a little bit of tender loving care, some mowing in there, just to keep it under control. So I don't know how you guys want to handle that. That's a question for you guys.
Mr.
Yes.
Chairman, when you do your site walk with the mowing contractor, can you get a price from him?
Yeah, I'll ask both of them. I'll walk them to all 5 locations of the wells and just ask them to clear some paths.
And that's what we did last time, right?
Mhm.
There
Yes.
was- Somebody went in and just cleared
Yeah,
paths.
and it's
so you could
very
go.
evident what to do. It's not very difficult. When they're
So-
there, it's a half a day's worth of work.
There's no residents there at 54?
No.
No, this is 54 Flint Road.
Oh, it says 54, okay.
Yeah, it's supposed to be down here. That's just I
Oh.
grabbed this map as a final. I just
Okay,
grabbed
so
this.
this is 54 here?
Yep.
Okay.
This
that
is
makes
good.
sense then.
This is your copy, I think.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, I just grabbed these weren't final. I just grabbed these so I
You
can
can take
give you guys
this home.
something.
You can have that.
You can have that. It's
Yeah.
free.
That's, I don't do paper. Makes it-
Wow.
So that's essentially what's
Yeah.
Essentially what's going on at 54, we are scheduled to do related, unrelated, another quarterly round of, or annual round of groundwater monitoring associated with the DEP, the 21E part of the project that we're dealing with Robin Craver on. That is gonna be done next week. And that will be a larger testing radius. Normally, we've done 63, 59, 57, and 55. DEP we had submitted a request to DEP to reduce some of that sampling from quarterly to semi-annual, and certain ones they agreed. But they said every 2 years, they wanted us to grab 47 and 49 or 45.
And these would be outside the current boundary.
They're outside the
testing.
current 500-foot radius of any detections, but they are within that 500-foot radius of the historic detection at that well that's been
Okay.
dry. And DEP said, we want you to check that. So
Alright.
we will be doing that next week.
Good.
Yeah. So that's the scope, that's mandated by DEP. As far as being within the 500-foot radius.
Mhm.
Because they looked at the reports and it historically was there. So test for it.
Thank you for keeping us in the good graces of DEP.
We're trying. We're trying. The good news is, you're dealing with a lot of groups here. You're dealing with the landfill group, and you're dealing with the wayside cleanup group, and they've all been very forthright in asking. Like Greg Root's been communicating with me a lot. He's been very reasonable because he asked me months and months and months ago, and I said I don't have approval to do that.
Mhm.
I'll get you all the information I can, and we met out there.
Mhm.
I think DEP is working well with the town and trying to help you get to a logical solution up there.
Good.
So I'm not gonna take all the credit, they've been very helpful. So that's all I have on 54 and 90 Flint Road at this point.
If you want, we can, because Mr. Jordan has stepped out, and
He had to leave.
he did have to leave, so he's not gonna be around. Can we just shuffle this up while we've got you here? And, yes.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to just stay on the Flint Road
Oh, sure.
landfill just a
Sure.
tad more.
Yep.
So we had talked about testing some homes on Burlingame Road.
Right, that's what I was gonna suggest we do, go to Burlingame.
Okay.
Okay.
And, okay, yeah. And so, I think that we should look at a map, the three of us, or including Jim and Gary, the five of us,
Yep.
and come up with a reasonable plan or a target for which homes we would like to see if they would get tested. And then maybe come up with a plan to try and get them tested, and maybe set some type of a plan in place for next year and the year after. So we had potentially talked about maybe doing every third house or so, and picking, I think, 3 houses. So that would give us, if we went with 9 houses, we could do one year, skip 2, 1, skip 2. So in theory, wherever you lived, you either got tested this year, or the neighbor left or right if you got tested. So it would be a,
Makes sense.
Would cover that 500-foot radius too.
yeah.
So if there was anything, you'd have to go 500 feet anyway. So if you tested the next one, you're actually covering a big area.
And I know Gary has information in the past where we tested 10 or 12 years ago, which houses we tested at that point. I think that may be a good start.
Was there any criteria for the homes that were tested, or was it just first come, first served? Yes, we'll get to
Some of the
this.
residents, I don't know, just to, so you didn't forget, they saw the newspaper
Yeah,
and decided to come in with
That's
some
good.
letters, but I just want to make sure you
yeah,
did
no,
receive
we'll
them.
get to that here in just a minute. I'm just thinking, obviously, this is all pretty much downslope, right?
Yeah.
The wells, how many total were tested about
So
10
last-
years ago?
The notes I have is number 129, number 131, number 135, 137, 143, and 147. I think I marked them on the well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not too-
So,
So-
and the reason I believe, and I didn't select, I think I helped make that selection back then. This map doesn't do anything for topography,
Mhm.
but these other ones do that I didn't mark very well. Basically, those are the lowest wells. There's a valley running through there, and there's a
Okay.
stream running through there. That's kind of where the wetland discharges. So that area, while it may seem a little bit further southerly from the corner of the landfill, you know, some of these over here, it's in the low spot.
Path of least resistance.
This is kind of at the bottom of the knoll and
Yeah.
coming back out.
As well as it looks like it's the closest to the monitoring wells that had hits of the 1-4.
And so the
True.
testing done back then did include, we did test for VOCs, volatile organic compounds, but the 1,4-dioxin would have had a detection limit of either 30 or 3 back then, not 0.3. So that testing back then was a full potability test to make sure their wells were potable, just like if I built a new house in town and wanted to come in. So it's up to you guys what you test for. I think your concern is 1,4-dioxin and VOCs. We did get into a little bit of a problem with 1 or 2 wells that had bacteria detections, and then we had to retest. And you know, a shallow dug well has nothing to do with the landfill, and so I don't recommend testing for coliform bacteria or bacteria in those homes at this point.
I agree with you.
If your concern is
It
landfill
wouldn't be-
contaminants,
It
let's.
would not be the landfill. So these are the ones, these 2, 4, you said you have.
I have results from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 129, 131, 135, 137, 143, and 147.
All right, so
And
2,
those
4,
are the old
6.
results.
Those are the old results from,
Well,
and
I'd
that work
rather
was,
get the old results.
those would be the old results from the old landfill, not the old landfill.
Right.
And those were all done in March and April of 2008.
Mr. Chairman
Yes.
and Kathleen, I think, knowing that we started here in the past and kind of went that way, I think we should do like a number system and maybe just start here and go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then the ones get it this year, or at least we ask the ones if they want to do it this year, and if they say no, then we move on to the 2 or whatnot. But
Where were you saying to start?
Well, this is where we
At the
started
bottom.
at the last time. I
Okay.
just picked an end.
So you'd
147.
start the same way, the same place?
You start
And
there.
do every third house?
And go 1, 2, yeah, so we would basically start off by numbering the houses. You'd either
Right.
be a 1, a 2, or a 3. And then in the first year, the ones that get sampled, the second year, the 2s and so on.
Right, okay.
I'm just throwing it out there, but that seems to be how they were doing it up on Berry Corner and H Foot Road.
I believe that was the protocol they used.
It makes the most sense, certainly.
So how many are you talking about?
We talked about doing 3 houses this year.
Because of the cost, and I think this was broached with the Board of Selectmen and Robin, or?
I did meet with Robin on it. She
Okay.
said, well, you know, you have to have funding, but I think
Right.
we have, like Matt said, it's Flint Road testing. So let's just say we're doing Flint Road testing of the landfill, which it is. We're trying to protect that circumference. Although it's on Burlingame, the landfill is on Flint. So I think we have money in there for testing. If we need additional funding, then I'd have to go in October. It's just that if there's a line items for everything. So if we
Yes.
submit something,
Right.
and it has to be, this is Flint Road testing, and we do have a line item for that.
Okay, so that makes sense.
If you ask me, I mean, I think this board, along with Jim and Gary, I mean, we've been very cautious with the eye on the dollar. I
Mhm.
mean, it's not overspending by any means. It's bare bones, but it's gonna give us an idea of what's going on down there.
And doing your due diligence, as you did 8 years ago, and it's time to do it again.
Yeah.
So is 3 houses enough?
It's certainly a start, I think.
I think if we got
They're
hits,
the most likely.
like you
If
said,
if you
Gary,
get a detection,
we tested more than
I
3.
know,
You
yeah,
get a
but
detection.
I mean, is
We
3
get a
houses
detection,
enough
we're
to
gonna
start
be
with?
meeting more than every 3 or 4 weeks.
But is
let me
3
tell you.
houses enough to start with? It's, what is it, $200 or $300 a house?
It's more than that.
About 800.
About 800
Yeah.
to 1,000. You think, because then you're covering all this, all that, and all that with the 3 houses.
With the 3 houses, it's kind of a geographic location. We're kind of testing X amount. We're basically taking the whole area that was tested in the past and getting three
So
samples out of the
You'd start with
area.
147?
I would,
If they'll allow it, sure.
if they would
They're
allow.
allowed, and then
And then-
137.
137,
Mm,
129,
Yeah.
that would be it for the first year,
There's 3.
if they are willing to do it at the town's cost.
And I think, Gary, maybe steer me in the direction, but, so, there's a piece, if you look at the map that Gary has presented for us, you can see there's a larger back piece of land, somebody has a, so it would be a matter of where is their well if there's one on site. Because this is the
There's
closest.
no house, though.
Thought there was a
So
discussion
the
about a
big
well.
parcel, yeah, this big parcel
here.
has a house up here. It's 50, it's,
Oh,
I'm
I'm
sorry, it's
sorry.
on this one, it's 81 Burlingame. And actually, on
There's
this
the
map,
options.
this is the same parcel. That's the house, that's the barn. So this sits like,
Getting all-
myself here.
That's the chain.
No, come
47.
backwards. Come backwards. Come
All
W
this?
to,
This.
yep, like that.
Okay.
This big parcel here, this is 81.
Makes sense.
I
that
think
the one
we're
you're
talking
talking
about,
This-
no, I
this
think
one
we're
right
talking
here.
about this one
This
right
house
here.
is,
Okay.
80,
Well, here's
Houses
the
on this
quick
side.
quick radius from those wells. He's way out. There's
I'm
500
not sure
feet.
where his well is.
but where's the
We can look it
well?
up if we have records, we can check.
But we
I
would,
think Gary's looking at it
I
right
just,
now.
if,
yeah.
so far we've identified 8 properties, and if we were gonna do a 9th property, even if it was in the
You want
third
to go to
year,
85.
I would, since this one is closer, but doesn't look like there's a dwelling on it, I would think this would be the target for
So
that last
number
property.
85.
What number is that?
Number 85.
is this one right here.
And this shows where the house is, correct?
Yeah.
There's the house, there's the barn.
Yeah. So the well is
500 feet is,
is
oh, you're
500
right.
feet from the house. The house is 1,000 feet away from the last well that has any contamination.
But so are these other houses as
Right.
well.
Yeah, they're more than 1,000 feet.
Just for, if we allocated, if we were gonna do like a 9-house program, I would think that may be the one that we'd consider for the 9th house.
It's fine with me.
It's
And-
okay with me.
And there's no saying, I mean, if we do the 1, 2, 3 program and there's no hits,
People are always able to test it themselves if they want to.
They are, but I think for the most part, most folks are not probably inclined to do it. I can't imagine how many of the folks down there within a couple thousand feet or 1,000 feet have put money out for testing, especially to the degree that we're talking about with 1,4-dioxane and VOCs.
So that's a discussion too. I know, and I don't, John Jordan had made a comment last time, which I personally have no problem with. I think he referenced Premier Labs or Microvac. They'll come out and actually do the sample, and they've got a reduced price. It will be less than I can do it for. They're a certified lab. I have no problem with that. They can come out, do the sample, and give me the data.
I think too, just, thinking it through is we approach, say, the ones this year and ask them, hey, what's your well testing program been? Because if they go, hey, we do it every 2 years, here's my results, then we know.
Yeah. I mean, some people do test their wells.
I do.
I
do.
tell people,
Just fine.
I tell people you should do it on a regular basis, depending on where you live.
Okay, yeah, right.
So if
We can
some,
save money or skip over them
Yeah.
and do maybe 2 down or 1 down from
Yeah.
them or go whatever.
yeah,
Expand it further up than 147 and further down than either 107 or 89 or I don't know what. Oh, that's 127.
so I would suggest the first question is, can we test your well and do you do it yourself? Can we see your results?
So this would be a proposal where we would send I hate to call it a form letter, but a letter of intent from this board
Yeah.
that would say,
That's how we did it last time. We just sent a letter.
okay,
Dear Mr. and Mrs. Smith, CMG at the request of the Board of Health is request approval of to sample your well, please contact us at this number to arrange it. And you guys, in an effort, I fully understand the monetary aspect of it. If Jim's staff can put a letter together, send a letter, make a phone call, arrange it, and if you guys wanna, have Mike go back, do it directly, because they'll come out, they have guys that all they do is go around and test drinking water wells. They just put it on their little protocol in their system. It may be cheaper. John Jordan had the contact information for that. I don't want us to do it, I'll gladly do it. But if someone can do it cheaper, and I can provide the technical expertise if there's a problem, I'll provide the service where I think I'm of best use to you. It's up to you guys.
Sounds fair to me.
Yep.
Kathleen?
Yeah, I guess I'm not terribly concerned about the money, because I don't think that's our role, simply because of that. But, at the same time, I don't wanna waste money.
Captain, I wouldn't, I mean, if it was somebody, you know, a kid out there sampling inappropriately in a, you know, they're a very good qualified lab. They've got techs that all they do is go sample drinking water wells. And they do, you know, 15 of them a day, so they're very efficient, and their lab is good. So I don't have a problem with that. I wouldn't recommend it. John Jordan had recommended it. I'm just kind of supporting his recommendation because I think you guys can save some money that way.
Okay. So I guess the first thing is to get the letter drawn up, if we don't already have one, that says,
We already have it.
we do, okay.
Pretty sure
good.
Andrea already got it ready.
All right, good,
Should probably email it to the board to make sure it's okay.
okay.
If she didn't already, to make sure you're okay with the
Yeah,
letters.
I don't think I've seen it.
But if not, we'll get it done right away.
Okay.
It's not gonna take that long.
All right.
So you just have to let us, I'm sorry I stepped away, I had to get a letter.
No, that's fine.
The ones that you want us to send letters to, we'll just, you know, for the record, say it on there.
We should,
You're gonna label them 1, 2, and 3, like Gary suggested, Matt, and then, or you suggested, and then we'll go call the ones first.
I'm good with that, if that's what the board
Yeah.
wants to do, sure.
I'm okay with that. So tonight, then, we will target three residences. And if for some reason they do not respond, or they respond in the negative, we go to the next one,
Yep.
right? That just makes sense.
Yep.
So we're talking about
So it's what,
147,
147,
137.
137, and Matt, you said
No, then, this one.
and
this
then
one, 129.
29.
Okay.
And all of those were sampled last time, so that's good.
Yeah, that's good.
And if it's the same folks, I don't think that we'll have any issue,
But then-
especially if there's no
And
no
they,
money
and
out of their
as long
pocket.
as we ask them, they may be sampling on a regular basis, since we did it the last time. They may raise their consciousness to think about sampling.
Okay. If we have other folks who have been asking, I'm assuming, Jim, you can respond and just say, you know, we picked
Yeah.
at,
Well, we do
that
have
the board
one,
has discussed,
but it's
and we've,
2
at this time, we won't be testing your well.
Well, there was a newspaper article which really got people's.
Well, I certainly saw it.
So they,
Yeah.
so people started, thought you were asking for volunteers.
And yes, well, kind of we are.
We are, but they kind of took it wrong where you're gonna be
Right,
asking
yeah.
them if they were okay for you to test. So some people stepped up and said, hey, you know, we'd be volunteering, we live in Burlingame Roads. But I think you're out of the area where your concern is, like Gary said, you wanna really test for the, you know, the probability if there is contamination would be the lowest level in that wetland area, so.
Correct. All right, so we have 3 residences on Burlingame Road that have been identified. We'll send out a letter to those folks, and, or would you want to just call?
We'll send a letter to all the board members and see if you wanna make any changes or additions or deletions. And I'll send it to Gary too, and he can look at it. But we're also, when it's ready to send out, we'll make sure that you're okay for us to send it, and I'll sign it and send it out on behalf of the board.
So assuming this moves relatively quickly, assuming all 3 of these residences come back right away within a week or so, do we need anything to get the ball rolling before? I mean, certainly there's no rush, but
Do you want us to sample, do you want Mike go back or to do it? I don't care.
Not ETR labs.
Not ETR.
no, correct. Do we
It's up
have-
to the board. I mean, Gary seems to be the one handling the landfill. I think it would be, you know, it's up to the board. We want someone, I think Yeah.
Well, Gary's recommendation was to use microbet.
John Jordan made the recommendation
Yeah,
at the last meeting, and I don't have a problem with that recommendation. They're a good lab.
So they're a little bit cheaper.
It will be cheaper than I can do it.
I don't know how much cheaper, I don't know.
Not a lot, but it's up to you guys.
And it's up to me, it's up to these three elected
Well,
officials.
I guess the question is how much? If we're talking $100 or less per test, but by the time you get done getting the report from them and so forth, where you already know the area, I don't know.
The devil you know.
And unless you're coming to us and saying, I am up to here with work, I'm falling behind, and
We can get the work done. I am using, right now, I'm comfortable with Alpha Analytical to do the 1,4-dioxin test. And that test is, it's like $240 just for that one test.
Yeah.
And the VOC test, I'm using Spectrum at about $100. So you're, $350 just for the lab.
okay.
A couple hours of labor to do it is another, $180. So $450, you're $550
Per
minimum.
house.
Yeah,
Minimum.
yeah.
Okay.
If you want to, we don't have to write the letter, but.
It's a lot less than 1,000.
Yeah, it's well within our budget.
Yeah, but, then, we need a couple $100 at the end to do a letter report and send things out, which I would do for you anyways, because
Mhm.
all that Microbac's gonna do is send you the data.
Right.
So, it's your call, I'm just,
Well, I would make a motion that we have Gary do it because we have a good relationship with him, we know him, it's easier. It's very reliable, or we wouldn't have been using him all these years. And so it doesn't sound like it's gonna be a significant amount of money difference. And, for the reliability, for the trust that we have in him and his knowledge, I
agree.
just as soon use him.
I second that motion.
Yep. All right. So I think we are agreed. You will do the testing if you are so able.
Wanna vote?
we are able.
You are able. Good.
Wanna vote on that?
Yeah. We have a motion to allow CMG and in this case Gary Magnuson to go on out and do the sample testing of 3 houses, 3 residences on Burlingame Road at the expense of the
Before-
town. Yes.
Before you vote, Mr. Chairman, do you want us to facilitate the letter, or is it being sent out by Gary? What do you want to do about that?
I would think.
Okay,
I would
just
think
to make.
from
I'll
you.
review it, I'd rather have it come from you.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, that's what I was
And I
asking.
don't know if you want to just say.
Contact us.
Put Gary's name on there just so.
I'll have Gary
whatever's-
review it, when he's ready with it, then I'll
Yeah.
send it to the board to make sure you're okay with it. That way, I believe that Kathleen is right. You're better off handling someone, because there's always been a question, even with the residents, do they trust the people testing their water under best practices? And I think we trust Gary, and I don't care what amount the money is, it's not,
Well, yeah, and
it's
even
really
going
not that much
forward.
different. And I think it's the right decision.
Yep, and if we have questions down the road, Gary's here every month.
Like you said, he's gonna have to send out the letter anyway after,
Yeah.
he's gonna have to
Send the
review it.
results, yeah.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
we're better off just,
We'll
we'll have
take
to
care
wait
of
for Matt to vote now, sorry.
Yeah. I think I know how he's gonna vote. Okay. This is a good map, though, I do like it. This has been around.
Could you possibly send that to the board members and myself via email, or is that not possible?
So I can, that's why it's not so good, because my
Okay.
computer
Well,
halfway
I know we
blew
like
up
to be
about
green
4:15
here,
this
so-
afternoon,
Oh.
and I had, that's why it's,
So you're using a PC and not a Mac, right?
I hate Macs. I can't even turn my wife's on. It drives me insane.
I hate PCs.
She gives me a computer, I can't do anything with it. It kills me. I'm just
Either
so.
love 'em or you hate 'em.
Yeah,
I can't use Mac, I'm sorry.
I want to.
I'm not gonna weigh in, because my son might.
I have one, I can't turn it
I
on.
think Macs are
likes
very
Macs.
intuitive, and I think that it's probably, women tend to be more intuitive, don't you think?
I agree, I
I'm
agree.
I'm not even.
I agree. Because it's not intuitive to me. Come on now.
That was a loaded question.
Help us, we're
I
hanging.
can't help it.
He's out there talking. Let's see, is there anything else? While we're talking this, and Matt doesn't have to be here for this, how many people, Jim, you said some people did contact this board about well testing. Do you have a rough number?
Just 2 or 3. I think it was
Okay.
2 or 3. But Andrea sort of, they called her and she explained that, because that article came out, which we printed, they thought they were looking for volunteers. We're gonna be asking them to volunteer, but weren't looking for volunteers in Burlingame.
In
You know,
specific locales.
Specific locales only, but, okay.
All right. And it's back. Okay, so, do we?
You have a motion and a second?
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Kathleen?
Aye.
Aye. So moved.
I can send you that, Matt.
Okay.
Gary's gonna
Once
send
my
a
computer just
soft copy of
rethinks
this.
itself tonight and starts up fresh in the morning with a clear head.
Works out good too. If there's a problem, Gary, you can call us.
Yep.
And we're on the horn with Gary, and it's like, hey, you're not gonna believe this, but it's clean again, and then we'll, you know, we don't have to wait for the lab either. We have
I'll
that
take-
line of communication.
Yeah. I just wanted to offer that savings, that's all.
Oh, we appreciate that.
All right. Anything else on Burlingame Road? No. H-Foot Road, Berry Corner Road, Eleanor Lane. Lions are not here tonight. I'm surprised.
Yep, I did attend a meeting, Tuesday, August 14th. We have the group meeting for the construction update, and I don't know if I forwarded to you, but I didn't make one of the meetings, and I got volunteered to, of course, with a task, so I had to determine which trash companies to notify and let Level Construction, because there's a problem with, we have buses we have to get by, we have trash trucks to get by, mail, all that, so they're trying to keep the road open, but Level Construction is moving along quickly. The recent work was 5,500 feet of LF of 8-inch DI water main in Berry Corner Road.
That's a mile.
5,580 feet, that's good.
They did T valves and H-foot road water main connections, 6 hydrants, 23 1-inch service corporations, 120 LF of 12-inch HDPE drain, and 40 LF of 8-inch HDPE drain, 415 CY rock removal. I guess it's pretty soft right now, but they anticipate when they turn on to H-foot road that it's going to change.
But that's what they've installed so far.
Yes,
Now, what about the road above that? Is that just a temporary patch?
that's temporary.
Okay.
Yep, that's
How is it?
temporary.
Has anybody been out there? Have you heard any reports?
Yeah, we heard reports that it wasn't good, so we called Heather Blakely. I didn't, but someone had called, and they went out and one of the pipes had rolled. Someone had hit one of the pipes that was off into the gutter, and she was mad that they shouldn't be there. But you have to understand, it's a construction site at this point, and they weren't on the road, and if you hit them, you went off the road. So she was upset. But there's also 5,700 feet of LF of 2-inch trench repair. So they're repairing the road, doing trench repair. And the upcoming work is continue installing pipe, hydrants, and service corporations. They put a hydrant in the wrong place, so they're gonna leave it there and just put another one. It'll be a service hydrant. They misread or did something, but anyway, it's another hydrant. The more hydrants, the better. So. They're going to, August 20th to 24th, they're going to continue installing pipe and Berry Corner Road hydrants, service corps, compaction testing and temporary trench repair, paving on Friday. And they're going to have a second crew now to get things going. So they're going to have another crew. And they're going to begin installing services to Berry Corner Road up to H-foot Road. And there's going to be tree removal, clearing, and grubbing being done. Work within the wetland buffer zones will require erosion control modifications, which they'll be working on. And the PRV vault installation will be in December. And the winter shutdown then restart in March, weather permitting. So that's just a quick update. And I will forward this, if I haven't already, to all the board members. I'll scan it and send it to you.
So in your estimation, are they on schedule, ahead of schedule?
Right now, they're ahead of schedule.
Good. For now. Until
For now, but they've done less problems with rock, is what they said.
Right.
Soft, so they're able to impact it and get it out. So they're moving along quickly. And they're very responsive. If they had an issue with the road, they came out, and Heather said she was very happy with their response. On a Sunday afternoon, someone came out and they took care of the issue.
And this is Ludlow Construction, you said?
Ludlow
Are they the
Construction.
overall,